Welcome to this tutorial on PowerPoint for beginners. This tutorial is for people who are trying to use PowerPoint for the first time. Maybe you already have a presentation you need to build and have no idea how to use PowerPoint. This tutorial is a short overview of just enough information to give you an introduction so that you can start using PowerPoint today. If you need more detailed information on a particular function in PowerPoint, there are a lot of YouTube videos to help you. What is PowerPoint? Well, first of all, PowerPoint is a presentation program. It's made up of slides, and the presentations can be static or they can also be automated. Slides contain elements which can be written. They can be media files such as video, audio, photos, tables, and charts. When you open PowerPoint for the first time, you will see this page, the introduction page. And at the top we have the home page, which is what we're on. New is open a new project, and open is to open an existing project. If we come down to the bottom, we have an account, feedback, and options. Over on the right hand side we have the projects we've worked with before, so you can always go back to a previous project. At the top we have different kinds of themes, and we are also confronted with a blank presentation. Themes we can add later to our presentation, so we're only concerned about opening a blank presentation. So we're going to double click on blank presentation. Now the first thing that happens is I'm brought to my slide right here, and you can see that we already have one slide on the left and some placeholder text on the right. This is a default slide, and so it's the first thing that you'd want to do is add a title for your presentation, and that's what this slide is, to add a title and to add a subtitle if you wish. Now, how do you add a title? You simply click right on the text, and now you can put in your title. Our title is going to be Smart Goals. Now, what's the difference between this text, the placeholder text, as you see here, and regular text in the presentation? If I go up to shapes, I can open up not only shapes, but also some what we call a text box. In a couple places you see right here and here. I can click on this, and this is a text box. So I can add smart goals here if I wanted. Oops. But this is not a placeholder. In other words, it doesn't put it in a specific place. Wherever I drop that text is where it's going to go. But in reality, the two are actually the same. I can tilt this text if I want. I can go up here and I can tilt this text. I can click on the box of this and I can resize it. The same thing I can do up here. So it's treated exactly the same. The only difference is that this places your text in a specific area on the slide, which is quite handy. So we're going to delete this. And how I delete this is I click on that line, and now it's a solid line going around, and I just hit delete, and it deletes that text. Now we can also add text to as a subtitle. We can put a subtitle down here, but we're not going to do that. And if I want to clean this up, I can select that whole box. Once again, it creates a solid line, and I hit delete, and now it's disappeared. So here's my title. Now let's look above at some of the controls that we have access to. And if we go up to the top up here, this is called the ribbon. And right now we're on, if we go to File, you'll see that it opens up such things as your info. You can save here, you can do the printing. You can do all different modifications program. And you click back up here to this arrow, it will take you back to that main ribbon and to the home page. So on the home, when you're new, as most of you are that are watching this, the home has most of the controls that you need to do your first presentation. So we'll look at some of the other features up here a little bit later in our presentation, but right now be aware that the home allows you to do all kinds of things, like opening new slides. We can do at home. We can change the layouts of slides, such as this slide. We can change its layout to something else if we wanted. We can reset things. There's all kinds of things we do. We have our little shape thing here. That's where I went and got the text box, for example. We can arrange things. On some of these things, if you look, you'll see a little down here, a little arrow and coming out of a box. And this is actually a sub menu, and I'll show you a little bit about that as one of the features when we get further into the presentation or tutorial. Let's add another slide. So if we go up here now to adding a slide, you see there's two sections. The top one will set or put in a new slide by default. It'll be put in whatever defaulted slide we want. And so it's put in a content type slide. We're going to delete that by going up here and hit delete slide. And the bottom part allows you to select different type of layouts rather than the default layout. So the one we were just looking at was a title and content slide, this one right here. And we're going to select that. And once again, the same slide pops up. And what this is this is kind of a bulleted slide. We have a title, and then we have down here bullets. And as we add things to this, it'll add different bullets. So our title is SMART goals, but we're going to just put SMART as this part right here. We're going to come down here. Once again, we just click on the text, and we're going to put in that SMART goals. S stands for specific, and M stands for measurable, and A stands for achievable, R stands for realistic, and T stands for timely. Okay, let's add our next slide. And we're going to do that by just going up above, and we're going to choose the default one because that will be the title and content slide. And here's our title, which will be our first one, which is specific. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a photograph down here at the bottom. So rather than text, we're going to use a photograph. There's two ways of doing that. We can go up to Insert, and we can insert a picture. We can insert a video. We can insert shapes. We can insert all kinds of things in the insert text, all kinds of things that we insert. But we can also go back to the home and not even worry about that and come down here on the slide itself, and we can see we have the picture. We have stock images, and what that is Microsoft stock images, and many of these are free, and you can use them to create your slides, some dynamic pictures. Some are not. Keep that in mind, so you got to read the license on each one. And we have video, and we have tables and charts and smart art. And what we're going to do is we're going to insert one from my computer. So we're going to do pictures, click on it, and we're going to go up here on this specific, and we're going to place it. And now we have our picture. Now, you'll notice that Microsoft PowerPoint is intuitive, and it automatically said, hey, you're coming up with a picture here. How about some design ideas? And it's come over here with different kinds of ideas that we can use in our presentation. And I'm not going to use any of those, but be aware there's a lot of things. In fact, I'll do a video on how you can use PowerPoint to actually create your whole presentation and from scratch, to where you don't even have to do much. And you just have to have knowledge of what you want to talk about, and it will create a lot of the images and the layout and design and so forth. But we're not at the point where we're going to do some dynamic things to our slides. We're trying to do things that are quite simple right now. So we're just going to put in our text. We're going to put in photographs. Then later on, we'll come back and add backgrounds and from themes and so forth. But currently, this is where we want to focus on, is just our text and our pictures, and not get into our backgrounds. So in order to speed up things, I'm going to add the other slides. I'm going to speed it up, and you'll be able to see me add the other items here, the other measurable, misspelled it there, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Before we go any further, the next thing we want to do is we want to save our project. And we're going to do that by going up to File, and we're going to go to Save As. We're going to go to Browse, and we're going to save it on our desktop. And we'll just save it anywhere. We'll call it Smart Goals. And we now save the project. So now we have all the slides for our presentation. The only thing I didn't put in was a closing slide, but we're going to skip that in order to save time. If we look at the bottom of the screen, we'll see another ribbon at the bottom. And this one shows you the slides, how many slides we have. We have a total of 7 slides. We now have currently slide number 5 selected. If we move over to the right, we have notes. And next to that is our view we're in right now, which is normal. Then we go to slide sorter view. If we click on that, you can see it shows all of our slides in the order they're in. This allows us, if we want to, change slides by simply selecting them, moving them to the position we would like to put them in. So let's go back to our slide presentation view. Okay, let's go down to our sorter view. And if you look at our slides, they all look pretty good. They're all in order, except for the text doesn't look good, and we need a background. Right now we have a white background, which there's nothing wrong with a white background in a presentation, but sometimes if you want to add color, you've got to add a background. So we're going to go back up to normal view. The other thing I noticed, I don't like this Smart Goals as a title. And so we're going to go back to our normal view. We have Smart Goals. Let's click on that slide. I don't like that, and so we're going to delete that and instead add a picture because it's the first slide people see and you want to catch their attention. So I'm going to go in and we're just going to delete it. And we're going to delete the box as well. Clean up our space. We're going to go up to Insert. We're going to insert a picture and from this device, and we're going to enter this smart picture. Now we have this smart picture as our title on our slide. Now, one thing we can do is we can size this up a little bit to cover the whole thing, which is what we're going to do. We're going to move it up, and I'm going to grab the arrow and move the bottom one down, and now we cover the whole slide. So that kind of catches people's attention. Smart. We're going to talk about Smart Goals. And we come over here to our second slide, and we have our bullets. Notice how plain that looks. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a background, and one way to do that is go up into Design View, and you probably recognize all these again, these little colored things. They're all the themes, and you can not only look at all the themes up here, but there's also additional themes. You can see there's additional themes that are coming up. We can also browse on the internet for additional themes that you don't even see here. So the theme we're going to select is this little green one right here. And it's done a couple of things. One thing is it's put a background on each of our slides. If you notice, it actually had this little feature of a little red on the right hand side. I think the purpose of that was to bounce off the fact that you have your text on the left and not to have this totally blank. You put a little bit of red to give it a little bit of bounce. The other thing you notice, our bullets have changed. Rather than round bullets, now we have triangle or arrow type bullets, which are a little more appealing. The other thing you might have not noticed is the fact that, and we're going to go back here to home view, is that when we select on the text, it actually changed our font. So our font is different. And yeah, you can go back up here and you could change this font to Arial or something else if you want. But that's when you do a theme, it changes your fonts as well as other features in your design like the bullets. So I think that looks good. Now I happen to notice something. On this slide right here, we have the categories that we're going to talk about. And I'm not sure if we actually need this slide. So if we go up here to our title slide, we have specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So we already have those steps in here. So if you were giving a presentation, you talk about this is what we're going to talk about today, and here's the different, this is what makes up this particular text or this particular word. And then if you went on to the next slide, you're repeating yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete this slide. And how you delete a slide is to go up, right click, and just hit delete slide. And now our slide is deleted. Now I want to remind you this is simply a presentation or tutorial on how to create a presentation with a little bit, just enough information to get you started. There's a lot more to learn about PowerPoint. It does a lot of things. You might also look at things that will actually automate a presentation for you, and I'll do a slide presentation on that, a tutorial as well. But thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.